have a really quick tutorial for you today to show you how to finish off the armholes of a bodice that doesn't have a centre front or a centre back seam, that you have like a side zipper in, or it's a pullover dress without sleeves. I'm currently working on my first proper wearable mock-up for my dirndl. One of the things that I have come across is that it doesn't have a back opening, it has a side opening, so the neckline is completely cleanly finished because I've just bagged that out, but it does mean that I won't be able to bag out the armholes in the usual way, but there is a way of being able to bag this out if you're super careful and if your armholes are wide enough, and these ones are just about. So what you want to do is, you can see here we've got the back of the dirndl, the front here, or the back of the work and the front of the work, and these are the armholes. So you're going to actually just roll this one up, because what we want to do is create a nice long sausage that we can then sandwich between the main fabric and the lining fabric, and we want to make sure that we can do that without, and sew this without catching any of the right side of the fabric. The same kind of burrito method that you use for doing a yoke. I have got the shoulder seams matching up. I'm going to pin those into place. I have got the underarm seam matching up, and I'm going to pin that into place, and then the other underarm seam matching up, lining to outer, and pin that into place. And then I'm going to continue to pin the whole way around and sew at my regular seam allowance of 5/8 of an inch, being super careful that I don't catch any of the body of the work. That's why we've rolled it into that sausage ahead of time. So I'm going to get this all pinned. Okay, so that's all pinned into place, and now I'm going to sew that at 5/8 of an inch from underarm seam to underarm seam. Then I'm going to clip it with my pinking shears, turn it through and press it, and hopefully that will work. Let's see. I have clipped the underarm seam with my pinking shears. That will help to make sure that everything will lie nice and smoothly around the curves. So I'm going to pull the work through and turn it the right way out. And hopefully we should have a nicely cleanly finished armhole. Obviously it's going to need pressing, but we need to do the same for the other side first. So we're going to do the same for the other side. So the work, it doesn't matter if it's this way up or the other way up, but you want to literally start rolling it into a nice long sausage. And we're doing this just to keep everything neat and corrallable into that seam. So when you get to about this point, you want to take the fabric that's on top. So we've got the lining fabric here for this side, and you're going to flip the fabric underneath so that you're enclosing that sausage that we made in between the two layers of fabric. And again, you're going to match up the shoulder seam, the two underarm seams, pin everything else into place, and sew at 5/8 of an inch, making sure that you do not catch any of the fabric of the main body of the work, because that would not be a good time. Clip with pinking shears to make sure that you get nicely pressed and curvy seams. And I will show you what all that looks like once it's finished. So just pinning, sewing at 5/8 of an inch, clipping, turning, pressing. So again, moment of truth, reach in between the two layers of fabric, pull the work out from the tube that you have just made, and admire your beautifully finished, if not yet pressed, armholes. So I'm going to go give these a press and sew up my side seam, and I'll show you what this looks like. But this is definitely my favourite way of sewing armholes on a garment like this. You can of course turn the seam allowance under and stitch it by hand. I just prefer this method because I find it easier. So I'm going to go and press it and then I'll show you what it looks like. And here is everything pressed. So my armholes are nicely finished. This is essentially the burrito method. I absolutely love the clean finish of sewing my lining to my armhole out of fabric by machine. It's just a preference. There's nothing wrong with hand sewing it, but when you work out if you can do it by machine, that's always my preference. For me, it's just quicker and also stronger. My hand stitching is not the best. So I absolutely love this technique, and I'm so glad that I've worked out how to do it.